Good afternoon. Well, by the time I get involved here, it's usually too late because I'm looking for evidence of a crime. I'm looking for anything I can do to assist you in any monetary loss or identity theft or exploitation. But that's my main job is basically looking for evidence, securing evidence, processing digital crime. It's basically the same thing in the real world. They call it social engineering, where people will try to fish for low-hanging fruit, what we'd call, people that would go for scams. And it doesn't take any specific level of intelligence or trustworthiness. They're fine-tuning the scams every day, and we've had some successful, intelligent, wise people that have been scammed unknowingly, and it's especially a little easier to do electronically. They're concealed a little bit more, and chances are they're overseas, which makes the investigation and prosecution really difficult. But in your handouts, I had put in information about the Internet Computer Crimes Center, which is a database and a company that assists the FBI and another organization called NWC3, which is a national white-collar crime. What they do is they're a clearinghouse for internet crimes. Because of the jurisdictional issues, there's never a town or a state that has specific jurisdiction on some things, because it's so easy to go interstate, into worldwide, being the World Wide Web. So if you have anything that you think is complicated, it's gray area where you may wonder where you would report this, that is one resource that you might be interested in looking into. Just go to the website, or a little bit of information on that handout explains on how the process goes. So up at the State Police, we get reports. What they do is they distribute the reports as far as the jurisdiction appears to be, and then we go from there. Our office has federal agents as well. In the event that it is interstate or international, we have representatives from the Homeland Security investigations. We have FBI, Postal Inspector, and several other resources through there. So basically what I'm here to just articulate a lot of obvious things that you do in the computer world that Tammy already spoken about. Basically, bottom line with the computers is make sure that your virusware is updated, make sure it's decent. There's free software out there. There's a company called Avast, A-V-A-S-T with an exclamation. That's free. It's basic coverage. It covers a lot of the intrusions that are current right now, and it continuously updates. You just have to register it every year to show that you're still using it or interested. And then for a small fee, you get a little more coverage. But as far as supplying information to the internet, it's something that you're really not 100% safe at any time. You don't know who's going to be intercepting that communication. It gets more complicated every day, and the people that are doing the defrauding are making it their full-time job. So you want to have a secure computer, a secure web browser. Anything that you have coming into you, such as email, which is a high tendency of people getting infected, getting viruses, and getting their information taken. If you get an attachment in an email, a lot of the times it'll look familiar to you. If somebody's good at presenting that, they'll appear familiar. And if you do open it, then they'll put what they call a payload or a virus on your computer, and it can either take your personal information, it can download a keystroke identifier, which will capture your passwords and your personal information. Every time you touch the keyboard, somebody's reading what you're putting in there. If you get an extension, a download, if you get a download request from an email address that's really long and it just doesn't look right, it probably isn't right, because they're pretty standard. And if you get a lot of characters and it just looks exceptionally long, it's probably something that's going to affect your computer. It can take your address book, and you may or may not have gotten mass emails from people that you know trying to sell you weight loss programs and some other offensive things. Basically what happened to them is they got caught in one of these downloads, and it got a hold of their address book, and it just started sending out spam, adware is what it's called, trying to solicit some customer bases. That's not quite as malicious as going right in and stealing your money, but it does affect a lot of things on your computer. If you get an extension that has a .exe on it, whether or not you're familiar with the extensions, what it is at the end of a download address, there'd be a .txt, which would be a text message, or a JPG, which would be a picture, or MOV, which would be a movie. EXE is an executable file. That's what they call executable, and that's an event where you're downloading something off of the internet. And if you don't know what it is, unless it's from a reputable company and you asked for it and you went to that website for it, that's going to be an attack. You can pretty much guarantee you're being attacked with an executable file that comes in through your email. So to play it safe, I would not open any emails that you're not familiar with. Usually your internet provider, whatever you're using on your browser or your email, will separate the spam, the unimportant stuff, and the stuff that's suspicious. It will separate it for you, but that doesn't always happen. The Wi-Fi hotspots, that's been a tough spot for people to get compromised, because now anybody can be a hotspot. I can take my phone and I can design it to be a wireless hotspot, so I'm serving everybody that wants to hook up to it. And that happens. If you go to a Starbucks or a library and it's free Wi-Fi, especially in airports and places where it's congested and there's a lot of traffic in there, chances are there's somebody going to be there trying to capture your information. And that can be done with commercial software you can buy. If somebody's really interested in gathering your information, if you're checking your banking account, if you're checking personal information, they can capture what they call packages. Packages are bits of information that travel in code between the wireless hotspot and the customer. So that can be deciphered, and they can run off with your identification and everything else. Now, like I said, by the time you get to me, I'm looking for evidence. So if you do find yourself in a battle trying to figure out what happened, what I would say to you is keep everything that you have. Everything electronic, everything digitally in your computer, everything, whether it's email, whether it's messages, texts, anything on a social website that you've been communicating with, you would be best to keep that, because the best part of digital crime is it's like a paper trail. It's better because it doesn't really go away. It may lead you to dead ends, it may be fraudulent avenues that we go down, but most cases we have a place to look. So if you have an email, it's a solicitation for something that you're not asking for, you're suspicious of it, whether or not you're out at a loss for anything or not. If you're concerned enough about it, you could report that to the IC3, in which case they would deliver it to us in this area, and we would want to see that email. And embedded in the email is actually their identification, where they're sending that email from, what they call an IP address, much like a phone number. It gives you that location where that computer is. It will also give you more specific numbers. If there are numerous computers coming from that house or that business, it'll tell you exactly what computer it was from. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's as easy as that. But without that, if you delete it, there is a process where we can get it back, but it takes a legal process. It takes search warrants and subpoenas, and dealing with Verizon or Cox or Comcast or whoever else is housing that information, it can be a long way around. The same thing with, well, we mentioned some of the social networks. I don't know how much activity goes on in this venue for social networks. Have anybody used Facebook at all here? Okay, it's a great tool to hook up with friends and socialize and whatnot. Then there's other ones. There's Instagram and Twitter. When you put these on your computer, there's a terms of agreement that you'll check off. Most people don't want to read, including myself, because it's 5,000 pages long and it's a small print. You agree to all these terms. Well, sometimes in those terms, you're waiving your rights to a lot of things that you wouldn't normally waive your rights to. Instagram, when you sign off on that, they own your photos. When you put that photo on the internet, they own it. They can doctor it, they can Photoshop it, they can sell it to marketing companies. It could turn up anywhere. Not a whole lot of problems with that, with the commercial end of it. I mean, usually it turns out to be cyberbullying and stuff like that. But an additional thing is when you do post pictures, if you're posting pictures of your family or private photos, photographs that are taken with smartphones are embedded with your geolocation. In some circumstances, all you have to do is if you see somebody's picture on the internet, you can, in a couple of steps, find out the address, location, wherever it is in the world where that picture was taken. So when you're putting your picture out there, if you're concerned about somebody knowing where it was, where you are, it's on a personal basis, but they can basically right-click on a photo. It'll give the latitude and the longitude of where that photo was taken, and with Google Maps, you just have to paste that into the Google Maps and it'll show a picture of the house or wherever that was taken. It'll take you right to a pinpoint. That's how accurate that's why GPS is so handy. It'll tell you if somebody was looking for me right now, they would just have to find ping, what they call ping my phone, and it would put me right behind this podium. It's pretty accurate. So if you do take pictures with your phone, there is a setting in there where you could take off the geolocation. It's basically your navigation tool. So if you research that a little bit, that's just another little safety precaution. There are a million things that you can do to protect yourself, and it's constantly evolving. Once you make one fix, there's another thing. That's Tammy was talking about with patches. That's what they do with the internet. If there's a weak spot, they put a patch on it, and then somebody works their way around it, and it's just constantly evolving. So, bottom line, update software for your virusware, adware. Make sure it's up to date. Make sure that if it does pop up, let it update. Don't just X out of it because you need it. And if you do find yourself victimized, you can always call or communicate with the IC3, or we can offer advice at the Computer Crimes Unit or your local police department. They can probably put you in the right direction. Thank you.